In June, a few dozen activists started meeting regularly at a seaside tented camp in Colombo for hour-long sessions to think of ways to revive Sri Lanka's flagging protest movement. The group, which including a Catholic priest, a digital strategist and a popular playwright, succeeded beyond their wildest hopes. The aim was to resuscitate a flagging protest movement described by many as ARAGALAYA, or the struggle in SINHALESE, and forced President Gotabaya Rajapaksa out of office. Through meetings that sometimes lasted through the night, the group settled on a mix of old school and online campaigning methods. Besides liaising with political parties, worker unions and student groups to gather a few thousand people in Colombo's district for a final push. The chosen date was 9 July, marking 2 months since the Rajapaksa's older brother Mahinda stepped down as Prime Minister, and a month after his younger brother and former Finance Minister Basil quit as a lawmaker.
Somewhere before July 9th, the idea was put forward to the group that we couldn't keep this momentum going for very much longer, and we needed somehow to do something that will inspire the people of Sri Lanka to come out again, to show their rejection of this system, the way they had come out in April. And the idea was floated that let's go with July 9th. We picked July 9th because April 9th, the ARAGALAYA started. May 9th, Mahinda Rajapaksa resigned. June 9th, Basil Rajapaksa resigned. And we felt that July 9th would be a good day to get the Sri Lankan people out on the road demanding the resignation of Gotabaya Rajapaksa, which is the rallying call which brought all the people together in the first place. So we put all our energies then to inspiring people to set aside whatever problems they had and to make the effort and come out. And it was a tremendous effort we were asking of people.
But the plan dramatically outperformed, harnessing widespread anger against Rajapaksa for plunging the country of 22 million into worst economic crisis in 7 decades, and created a seminal movement in Sri Lankan politics. Riding by trains, buses, construction lorries, bicycles and on foot last, hundreds of thousands of people occupied parts of Colombo on 9th July, vastly outnumbering security forces deployed to protect government buildings. Gota, go home. The crowd shouted at Colombo's fort area, seething at Rajapaksa after months of shortages of essentials like food, fuel and medicines, before breaking into the colonial-era president's house around 1 p.m. Soon after, surging crowds also stormed a portion of the president's office and entered the Sri Lankan Prime Minister's official residence 2.5 kilometers away. Within hours, both leaders who had been moved to safer locations announced that they would resign to allow an all-party interim government to take over. No sitting Sri Lankan president has resigned from office so far.
We nudged the people in the right direction. People were already determined, they were already expecting something, and they were willing to commit themselves to this outcome. So what really happened by this core group was that we gave the people a slight nudge in the right direction, and the rest happened organically and spontaneously.
The ARAGALAYA core group also coordinated for volunteers to visit thousands of households across parts of Colombo, particularly middle-class government housing estates, some of which are within walking distance of main protest site. Activists appealed to more than 30 Go-to-Go village sites that have sprung up in towns and cities across the country. Late on 8 July, the police declared a curfew in several districts around Colombo, which activists said aimed at stalling the planned protest and that lawyers decried as illegal. Some core group's members swiftly moved to safe houses, fearing arrest by police.
And we expected, as protesters, around 10,000 with all these restrictions. But July 9, by morning 9 o'clock, people started flocking together amazingly.
Early on 9 July, marketing professional Satya Charit said he started off from Moratuwa, some 20 kilometers away from Colombo, with around 2,000 fellow protesters. After about a week of Facebook and WhatsApp posts, some of which were shared by thousands together with a few local leaflet distribution runs, the turnout of Moratuwa was roughly along expected lines for the group. It was only when he left his hometown that he realized how many people actually wanted to go to Colombo, especially angered by the curfew which the police withdrew early on Saturday.
we were able to network all the protest grounds of Sri Lanka, north, south, west, east. Sometimes we were visiting them, sometimes through social media. The networking took place, and all the provinces, districts and areas of Sri Lanka where these protests were happening, we had a network system.
In multiple Facebook live streams posted by him on Saturday, thousands of people can be seen strolling down the main road to Colombo. By Charit's own estimates, some 50,000 people eventually joined his march and reached Colombo Fort area, where a crowd swelled to at least 200,000 people, according to a police official who declined to be named. Protest organizers had roughly calculated that it would take around 10,000 people to overpower personnel guarding each of the 4 entry points to the president's house, but the actual turnout on Saturday was much larger.